even build Tiamat first and waiting and delaying that Sightstone an incredibly long time. People like Reignover, they still go for that Sightstone, they still go for that early vision, but we're seeing the middle of the pack teams just abandon it and say, hey jungler, you're another carry threat, let's take over the game, especially if they get 1 or 2 early kills.
Well, let's see how much attention they get in this draft, because we are into champion select for game number 1. Cloud9 on the blue side for the first one, P1 over on the red. Shen and Gangplank band away with Vlad and Malzahar out on the P1 side. Pyrian certainly knows the power of that champion, but Jensen's been playing a lot as well. He'll take it away here on the red side.
Yeah, and it's definitely first pick worthy. I expect it to be a red side ban. It's the highest prevalence right now in champion select on the 6.14 patch, with Sivir being the second highest in terms of how many picks and bans they have received. Almost 100% of games, 97 for Malzahar.
And there's a Braum ban from Cloud9, so taking a champion away from Gate. And Ashe ban, actually giving some credit there to Sneaky, but still some AD carries to be first picked, and they insta-lock Sivir.
Yep, second highest prevalence at the moment. Karma and Gragas are the next 2 highest, but they're just trading picks back and forth. You could expect the Rek'Sai to come through for Inori. It's a very good champion for him, but also, even though you're like, okay, man, the guy plays a mean Rengar, and he plays all these great champions, because Meteos has the overlap of the Rek'Sai, it's best to take that away.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, as Karma and Rek'Sai are pretty much kind of going down the stack rank of champions at this point, just taking what's strong. P1 not going to give too much away there with their first few picks. We'll see if C9 start to deviate here, and they have had the Sivir Karma broken up here, so Smoothie, who does love to default to that pick, will need something else here.
Yeah, he may go for the Braum, then we may see a Braum Gragas here out of Cloud9. That's what I would expect.
We'll have to see.
Still locking in. Oh yeah, Braum banned away, sorry.
That would be very strong.
Yeah, it would be very hard. Maybe a Sona as well, because Sona has jumped up in priority very highly.
Kind of curious to see what Smoothie's got. I feel like both of Cloud9 supports, when they were still both playing actively on the roster, were kind of, slowly learning each other's champions. Smoothie's definitely branched out from the Karma-only days. Bard definitely been a pick that maybe inspired by Bunny Fufu, and there's Gragas and Bard, big playmakers on the Cloud9 side.
Okay, so the support was kind of up in the air, though, especially with the Karma takeaway and the Braum ban. Go for the other B. Go for Bard. So the Bard Gragas. So decent amount of engage here for Cloud9. We've seen them excel when they play pick-oriented compositions, and you do have to be a little bit wary here if you're P1, because you have to hide your mid lane. Because Jensen, he's able to play the Cassiopeia, which is still up, still a very powerful champion. Empyrean might be able to counter that. And Talia's still on the table as well. She's seeing a lot of bans.
She's actually, in fact, both mid laners going to pick late here, because Na and Lucian are the picks for P1, with Pyrian going to get that counter pick for the mid lane here. Jensen will have to show his hand, but kind of curious to see, with Aurelia up, a blind pick Na here from Zig. We've started to see that matchup tilt very heavily in favor of Aurelia most of the time we've seen it play.
Yeah, you can actually kind of herd Zig towards this pick, because you banned Shen and Gangplank, two of his favorite champions. He got to play Gangplank yesterday, and it just immediately ends up on the ban list. He does have some cheese picks as well, things like Jace top lane, but he goes for the range with the Gnar, and I expect the Aurelia here. You have a lot of engage. You can get some split push down and have a 4-1 composition. Get some wave clear as well, possibly a Cassio.
Trundle seems fine as well, I guess, if they want that instead. In fact, certainly played a lot of both of those champions, but he's going to be Cassio locked in for Jensen, and Impact will take Trundle this time around.
Okay, so it's a little bit more for the team comp. It's not for that split push solely. Like the Cassiopeia, high damage, pretty good blind pick. The only thing that really gives it a hard time right now would be the Talia. Unsure about the new Rise and how that would fare against her.
Certainly important to note that it is the current Rise as well after yet another rework, so haven't seen him just yet. Team's definitely figuring that one out, but if it was locked in, be a lot of changes to talk about there. Talia, though, certainly something Pyrian hasn't shown us yet, so he's going to go back to a comfort pick. There is Azir as the last pick for Phoenix One.
Okay, a little bit surprising there with the Azir, especially since Azir took what seemed like a slight nerf, because it eventually evens out in power with the Sand Soldier damage, having much lower at early ranks and then going up with his level. It prevents your same type of wave clear. Like, the whole point of Azir was you had a decent laning phase. You had some pretty good mid game, and then you just went off at 2 and 3 items. Now it's really, really oppressive to. It's really hard to be oppressive because of the lower damage. Because it's not just you poking them; it's you clearing out minions is slower.
Yep.
And all of that just kind of trickles down.
Yeah, you kind of need to wait a little longer to get stronger. And curious to see it into Cassio specifically, because I felt like Cassio kind of entered back mainly to fight Azir and Victor as the first few picks. But we'll have to see. Pyrian certainly very strong on the Azir, but Jensen no slouch on the Cassio. Cassio's been winning a ton of games recently, but the coaches are going to shake hands, and I guess we'll find out on the Rift.
Yep. And I want to see how that Azir fares. He dropped in win rate in solo queue, but that just means that he's much harder to actually excel with. We'll see how Pyrian does with the mid lane, but it was banned against him previously in a few sets before this patch, so we'll see how he does.
We certainly will, but it is time to declare your allegiance on Twitter. Join the conversation by tweeting using the hashtag C9win or the hashtag P1win. I imagine P1 have picked up a bevy of new fans after their performance yesterday. See how the crowd fares as we move through. Because if P1 start winning again, doesn't matter which team you liked before, everyone's a P1 fan when they're winning.
Everybody loves an underdog. And P1, the biggest underdogs, were usually banned from saying David and Goliath, but it was David and Goliath
it certainly
yesterday.
was then.
And David ended up winning on that one. P1, we're about to get into the game just a moment, but P1, if they continue this streak, they're just going to gain so many fans. People are going to love that momentum coming in. And right now the question is, where is the ceiling for them? Because people are like, okay, maybe they can make playoffs. And then when they beat TSM, it's like, okay, is that a fluke? What's going on? Because it wasn't just like, oh, they won a team fight when they were down 5,000 gold and then they won the game. It was, no. These guys actually took control of the game and then closed it out through aggression. And we're talking double kill, minute 2.5 in the mid lane off of a gank. It's those types of plays that give them a hold of the game, and they showed that they wouldn't let that hold go, which is the mark of a team near the top of the standing.
And he pointed this out before. It's they won in a best of 3, which I think was the most important thing. Yeah, it was a very dramatic 2-1 win. They got destroyed in game 1, to be perfectly honest. TSM manhandled them there, but they managed to keep their composure, get more carries for Annoy, play a little more snowbally, and then go from there. Worked out well for them. Can they do it against Cloud9? They've definitely been more of an inconsistent team despite their record looking very good towards the end of the split. In a lot of minds, Cloud9 are probably gearing up for playoffs now that they've locked in and just trying to hold that top seed. But they don't want to drop more games here to P1 because they do want to hold on to 3rd. And P1, if they do want to sneak in, they'll have to take down Cloud9, I believe, 2 straight.
I believe they have to take down everybody.
Yes, well, clearly.
They have to take down everybody in their path. They're going to need a little help from, I believe, Envy to lose all of their remaining games. So it's kind of a stroke of luck here, depending, because they aren't completely in control of their own destinies. And we'll see what happens with them because they could still make playoffs, but it still continues here, that road.
Yep.
Got a long way to go.
All they can do is play one game at a time. So let's have a game. Game 1 is now starting between Cloud9 and Phoenix 1. As the teams are going to move out onto Summoner's Rift for the first time for these two today, at least. I guess they've played already. Cloud9 going to group up as 4, pretty much. Moving straight towards that top lane. P1 fanning out. They're over on the red side. We'll see what plans Cloud9 have here at level 1.
I mean, Meteos taking the body slam at level 1 is something that he loves to do. It helps your jungle clear still, doesn't really slow you down, but it also has really good multi-man knockback potential and stun. And they have the Bard on top of it. So Zig, see what happens? He actually
they
hurted himself bottom, and that's the sign to go.
Homework done. Smoothie flash binding. Zig still eats a stun on the other end, and Meteor not going to follow in. Looks for the flash body slam, but that's not enough. Zig hops away.
Yeah, it's 2 flashes for 1, and Zig has to level up his E. So that puts him a little bit behind. It's not going to have that same type of harass. But it does give him some safety, and I assume you go for the lane swap now because of that. You go for lane swap wards to counter, and then make sure that you're able to go and swap it and avoid that matchup just because of the E. You can still do it, though. It's ranged.
Yeah, hard to say if Cloud9 were actually looking for it because they invaded, I guess, for Vigilant initially. Did their homework, almost got a kill onto Zig, but couldn't quite land it out there. Zig, though, now on that bottom side of the map, will be joining his jungler, I assume, for what looks like a lane swap here. And Cloud9 are a team that love to swap sneaky away into the early game and just kind of get in that safe farm.
Yeah, despite it being an okay matchup, it's still Sivir in Lucian with 2 range supports, so might as well avoid it for now, get Sivir to those power spikes and avoid Lucian.
Jensen and Pyrian, as a result, will face off here in the mid lane. Pyrian at level 1 looking good. Gate with a drive by it. Getting some damage down there to Jensen, but he avoids most of that here. Gate just steals some of his money and then leaves. Going to go back down and help Lucian push out.
Yeah, speaking of going back down, we see Smoothie actually just checking the jungle, running around. They aren't on this strong side of the map. He's going to check the red. after we check the Raptors, and he found nothing. He's going to go back top, and they have a good idea of where P1 started, and they didn't go for a greedy start.
Yeah, it looks like they will just be jungling vertically here. Meteos has all the info, so he's going to go over into P1's red side. And Inori, actually, that's not the right side of the jungle.
But he was talking about how he has good mid-lane jungle synergy, so that's what he's going to need this game, because Meteos has shown that he'll gank for Jensen, he'll get him ahead. But Pyrian's adopted a really aggressive style lately. The Malzahar and the Azir, he loves to shove his opponent in early. It puts him in a very gankable position. But if Inori is in a position to counter gank, it's been working out for P1 more often than not lately.
You can see Jensen hits his first biscuit here. We'll get some of that health back here. Cassiopeia does have some inbuilt sustain as well, so as the lane goes on, Jensen should be okay, but Pyrian is playing up, making sure he covers for his jungler. Inori, though, did back away from that red side of the jungle. Going to go into Meteos' red-hand side, but again, we kind of split the map here with the early lane swap, so not too surprising on this movement. Inori, just a bit of a misstep there. Trying to get greedy, I guess, taking something away from his unsafe side.
Yeah, also if you end up finding just the jungler, you may be able to have your mid laner collapse. He wasn't level 3 though, he didn't clear out his Raptors before he went, and that may have actually given him the confidence to do so if he had done that. Because you really need all 3 of your abilities to use Rek'Sai. It's like, if I have a knockup without a tunnel, what am I? What do I do?
Yeah.
What's my purpose?
Not enough as it turns out, but Inori now level 3. Gate once again, gonna visit mid lane. Jensen probably not too happy with the situation. Towers have fallen as well, though, as both top laners managed to collect the local gold and knock down the first few structures. Zig's going to stay for what CS he can, but I imagine we'll have another swap back and see if we can't trade 2 for 2 on those outer turrets early on.
Yeah, it looks like they do go for the swap back here, Mash and Gate towards the top side. He only saw Mash, to my knowledge. Okay. Award could have expired, but oh wait, towards the mid lane though, Jensen. He's getting some help for Smoothie, but...
Good gank here, Jensen trying to
go
go
Jessica, watch out!
Gonna go down. No, he goes there, period! Will flash for the last auto, it's a trade, but Azir secures first blood.
Jensen doesn't even blow his ghost there, and that's the flash and the heal out of Pyrian. And here's TP to the bot side.
Now Sneaky trying to turn it around. Zig only level 2. Impact flashes forward, puts down the W for a bit more speed. Finally pillars off Zig, but Inori gonna knock Impact away. Now he's slowed down as Sneaky doing damage with the Boomerang Blade. Zig looking for the Transformer. Smoothie tries to line it up. Good flash out though from Inori, and P1 escape.
Oh, TP to the top side from Zig. So he ended up trying to hold, and now he's going back to the other side of the lane swap. So he saw that his enemy top laner TP'd down, so now he's going to go to the top side. Down a little bit in experience, but let's take another look at that mid lane fight. Smoothie is just hanging out over here, comes through, and Pyrian's like, I'm going to have none of this. Gets the Thunderlords off, the Q pass through, and the damage there. Oh, man, Jensen thought he wasn't going to have to flash, but if he was going to, should have done it before the soldier, so.
Yeah. Unfortunate trade there for Jensen as Pyrian goes back, gets himself a second Doran's Ring and 2 daggers. Just a tier for Jensen. He needs that to stack up, and Pyrian's just not going to stop being aggressive here.
Exactly. Because he has those 2 daggers, it's going to give him a lot of damage early on to just get 2 autos off if he can at that point per soldier. And also it gives him about 200 gold up, because that kill did go over to Smoothie. And the first blood went to Pyrian. So it's a 400 gold versus 150 to Jensen. And he's just going to try to bully him out over and over and over again. This is actually pretty delightful to watch from Pyrian.
Certainly looking good. His Azir's always impressed me, even when P1 was struggling early in the season. Impact, though, takes a turret down. C9, briefly, actually not even up at all. Zig actually got the top turret just briefly. So 2 for 2 now on those turrets. We'll see where the lane assignments are, but it's been a pretty standard lane swap with plenty of action in the mid lane. As Gate and Impact going to look for some trades. Gate going to lock him down with a snare. Mash actually probably not there in time. Pretty long lane for Impact to run down, but he's relatively tanky. Gate's going to keep trying it, though. There's no help going for Impact. He doesn't have a flash.
Impact doesn't have flash.
He's got no flash. There's the flash ignite. Snare down, and Gate picks himself up a solo kill.
Picks himself up a world champion, too. Gate. Impact has just been overstaying. He did that top side too. We saw that where he stayed. He knew that Mash was coming. He had to assume that Gate was going to be there too. Exact same thing happens again. You had to take another look at it because it's either Impact being over-aggressive or it's the fact that they just aren't warding and he's not assuming that he's going to be there.
There's now 3 members of T1 in the bottom lane, so they're going to shove into that tier 2. Meteos currently there to try and help it all out. Jensen and Pyrian still back and forth here in that mid lane, both level 6, so Jensen can maybe turn something around with a well-timed ultimate, but no help coming right now for Jensen. He's stuck in this lane, keeping up in CS to his credit, but P1 still taking control of the map. They'll go for this Cloud Drake.
Cloud Drake, fantastic Drake on this patch with a 25 out of combat movement speed. You definitely feel this Drake, especially just one. Doesn't suffer any diminishing returns at that point, no soft cap. You're able to just zoom around the map.
And there it is.
P1 taking those advantages.
Yeah, I mean, carved themselves out a nice lead in the bottom lane. Forced impact off, got themselves a kill. Now take the Drake. C9 trying to split the map as Sneaky, Smoothie, and Meteos are all grouped around the top to mid section. Looks like Rift Herald might be what they look for.
Yeah.
We'll watch this one again.
Yeah,
Impact is so far forward.
Look at those wards in the jungle, because they don't know who's coming. And I watched it back. They didn't ward for him. So when your support and your AD carry leave, maybe your jungler's on that side too, they should be warding the crossroads at the blue and cutting off those entrances, and even just warding in the river. And Gate just, he takes advantage of that. It's such a great heads up play there, because Inori had walked through the jungle and been like, oh, they're not walking in here. It's not warded.
Really good stuff. Is Pyrian now with the blue buff, actually. Going to continue to shove out that lane. 10 CS or so ahead of Jensen, who's also going to go ahead, pick up his own blue. Smoothie in a bit of trouble. Inori going to face check him. Smoothie does magical journey out to safety, but Inori going to steal the red buff away. P1 taking a really good hold of this bottom section of the map, although Inori doesn't feel quite safe enough to commit to that red buff. They'll ward it instead and maybe come back for it later.
Yeah, especially since they didn't have a great idea of where Gragas was at the moment. And Jensen's just playing in fog.
Smart stuff. Impact and Sneaky pushing up.
Cloud Drake! It got him away from the pillar!
Hey man, it's the little things that matter. And like you said, certainly significantly buffed on this patch as well.
Yeah, basically, you take one and it's like 2 of the previous patch. You take 2, it's like 3. It's pretty ridiculous.
Take the 3rd, it's like 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
Exponential Cloud Drake growth.
It's like you had Elder in 3.
It's a lot. Collapse tunnel there. Zenori does ulti back to his blue buff area. It's like both teams just trying to find spots to farm more than anything else. Sneaky, as almost always, has farm priority here in the bottom lane, forcing Mash back towards his tier 2, but they're pretty even on CS. Impact is suffering a bit because he's actually hung around in the bottom lane to pick up whatever he could, but he'll rejoin Zig as that wave pushes towards him.
Yeah, and they're just catching these waves right now for P1. I definitely think P1 are in a better position right now to actually have a fight. I think that this next Cloud Drake is a great time for them. I actually think that you could even group up with the Rift Herald. And the reason I think this is, you bought Tiamat first. Inori, so skips jungle item, goes straight Tiamat. Gragas, no combat stats. 100%, you go for a fight, you try to force something. If they fight you, Gragas is just a CC bot with like no HP, nothing. And it's a very good time to actually take advantage of that.
And in general, pretty strong for P1 here as Inori maybe caught out of position. Sneaky and Smoothie rotate themselves up to the top lane. Don't aggro the Rift Herald though, and Inori able to tunnel out the back of the pit to safety. Not a bad transition there for Cloud9, but they kind of commit a lot to just secure vision on their area. Have to think they're going for the Rift Herald, but if they don't get it, just some wasted time there. As I guess they're waiting for waves to push back as well, so Cloud9's maybe just trying to stay active.
Yeah. Zig is pretty far up though, so trying to just keep it shoved out. They don't know exactly, but they do see Smoothie.
There's some intense ward battles going on around this red buff. P1 making sure they get all the vision they can. Smoothie, though, gets some value out of the sweeper. Picks up 2 wards for himself. And again, Sneaky and Smoothie just going to move back down, collect what farm they can. Jensen holding on here in the mid lane, caught up very nicely. Making sure to not get too pressured here by Pyrian. Now Meteos made his way in. Could be a kill. Body slams in. Look for the ultimate. Locks it down with the miasma. Ultimate's good, but Pyrian still moves back in from the cast. And Jensen gets himself a kill.
Yeah, Meteos, perfect time to go in. He completed his Runic Echo, says, all right, it's time for a gank. I have those stats. Goes for it, abuses it, and then they pick up Pyrian. Doesn't have a chance to flash either.
And talked about Pyrian playing pretty aggressively in a lot of his lanes. Costs him a lot there as Jensen able to answer a kill back.
Oh.
Inori trying to go in as well. Gets the flash knockout. Gate flashes forward, but Jensen able to flash out this time. Meteos here for coverage, and P1 cannot secure it.
Yep, they get the double summoners out of Jensen, though. He's going to try to chase down Zig.
Hit the other Q, going to keep going for it. Does not commit with 4 members of Phoenix One in his face, but very nearly gets himself a second kill.
And they get both summoners out of Jensen, so it gives Pyrian a little bit of an advantage here. But he is still down now in gold by just a little bit.
We talk about this a lot. The scariest thing about Cassiopeia is when things go wrong, They tend to snowball out of control. This is just a great game for
I mean, he's got a tier, right? So if he's doing this type of damage with a tier, and, yeah, no, Pyrian saw that ward get placed down. It should have just bailed at that point. Like, even just flash, maybe just W get away. He really committed to being sneaky. They had no idea that he was there. Or they saw that he went off into that bush, and then they really were like, okay, he's probably just sitting here. Ward it to make sure, and then Meteos engages, so.
Merlin Omicron now finished for Jensen as well, so has a bit more power. The next time Meteos comes through a visit, Pyrian has finished his Nash's Tooth, so both mid laners are farming well, but Pyrian did commit the heal to that gank as well. Still got himself killed, so maybe Meteos going to continue applying pressure there, see if he can't snowball that lane ahead. Especially since the two long side lanes are just kind of getting farmed up at this point. Zig and Impact nice and even. Sneaky and Mash also nice and even. So it's pretty much all around the mid lane because everyone else is just waiting for farm to kind of come to them in those long lanes.
Yeah, because the lanes are so long, you just push it out and then eventually it comes back to you. But every time you push it out, you get this small window, maybe I would say about a minute, to make something happen on the map. But you have to also hope that you shoved both waves out, or else you might lose something on the opposite side. And speaking of losing something, all that health from Smoothie.
Yeah, but not the most resilient of champions. Pyrian there with a good bit of damage after picking up that blue buff. As Cloud9 are definitely grouped to try and contest for this next Drake. It is Cloud Drake number 2. The P1 will be more than happy to secure themselves a second. Cloud9 will see if they can't challenge for it, because it looks like they are positioning for a fight here.
Yeah, Sneaky's actually sitting on 1,800 gold, so this is a great time to take a fight if you're P1. Nobody has more than 900, and that's on Pyrian, who already has that Nashers. Cresting about 1,000 now. I mean, started up, but you have to watch out for Meteos' body slam flash.
Yeah, the gold's even as well, so those numbers are deceptive, given that Sneaky has so much unspent gold. P1, though, is going to force themselves onto the Drake. Cloud9 know that maybe we can go for a steal. Well, they are sticking around here. A little dangerous. Meteos going to try and go in for it, but Ziggs are on the flank as well.
He's going to try to build up that bar.
Drake goes over, P1 get it. C9 just turn tail. Not worth committing to try and challenge there. I think buy time is kind of messing them up. They'll just, I guess, continue taking their farm, but P1, strong control around the Drake in the early minutes.
Yeah, 50 extra movement speed out of combat, and it comes up fairly quickly as well. Like, when we say out of combat, it's like, I want to say 4 seconds? It's really quick how fast that actually comes back up after getting hit.
And you know what? Sometimes I feel like the game knows what kind of game we're playing. Because we have a big lane swap game here, so that movement speed actually matters moving between these lanes.
Also, there was another buff that actually got put in to Cloud Drake. When you kill wards and attack wards, it doesn't put you in combat anymore. So as a support, you run around, it doesn't cancel your Moby boots when you start clearing wards, when you sweeper things, and then you can just get out much faster.
We'll have to watch just how zippy P1 get. Cloud9 is still trying to keep their mid laners strong here, hold on to that turret as best they can. Plenty of wave clear between the Azir and the Cassio though, so mid lane turret's going to take a while, unless teams really want to commit to some sort of siege. Mash actually pops top lane though, going to get himself farmed there, and Sneaky sees the farm in top lane, has gone back and bought. Looks like Essence Reaver first is pretty standard here for the Sivir, but he'll catch that wave as it moves in towards the tier 2, and once again P1, initiative around the map. They could maybe now go for the Rift Herald.
I think he gets a Rift Herald, but Zig on the opposite side of the map.
Give it to Anora. He's the real carry.
Yeah, that's true. On the carry now. Let's go. Ends up picking up the Tracker's Knife for himself. So we see this a lot with Rek'Sai. You get the Tiamat, and then you finish your jungle item completely. The reason he went straight for Titanic yesterday was he literally did say, like, I'm the carry now. I have so much gold. If I spend this on Cinderhulk, then I'm wasting our advantage. Titanic Hydra for him right off the bat. And it worked out for them. He even went Red Smite that game. Absolutely insane with his lead.
Yep, going to play a little more conservatively. Good flash force. They're going to
Nori
flash
too.
follow. Nori now zooming in, and Impact can't really get out of this. He's got his ultimate. He's going to have to look for the 1v2, but Nori knocks him up there. Zig going to keep cutting it out, and Impact's just dead. Zig gets one.
Yeah, and Impact getting picked on this game. And P1, look at this. You see Meteos wants to collapse, but I think they're too fast.
Too late. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Frozen Mallet double Cloud Drake not really getting away there as Impact a little too far forward in that lane once again. Not much of a gold lead here for P1. They're continuing to make plays around the map. We'll see if they can't keep snowballing their objective advantage, because the Drakes really are the things that are keeping them ahead in this game.
Yeah, and just for some context, like, we're talking a lot about movement speed here. Meteos has 401 movement speed. That's with Boots 2 and the 7% from Runic Echoes. And then Zig, with his Boots 1, has 430. He has room to grow. He's hitting those soft caps already, and he's just going so fast.
Well, it's helping him around the map. Here is Gate, going to shuffle in. Make sure Mash gets that big juicy wave up safely. Ghostblade finish now for the Lucian, so P1's mid-game fighting power also coming together. C9 though, especially in an even game, do not underestimate the power of Sivir Cassiopeia as the game goes on. Cloud9 have more than enough here to try and force the fight. It's just a matter of finding the right angle for it. As they're down 2 Drakes being the only real lead here for Phoenix 1. But it's solid play. They just have to continue playing this way. Not they're going to get massively outscaled. Cloud9 going to have to find a way in here.
Yeah, especially since the next Drake is a
Cloud
Cloud Drake. Everybody gets mobility boots at that point. And they're just so fast, and it becomes so hard to engage. And think about what a Bard wants to do is just throw his Tempered Fate out and catch people. It's so hard to land it when everybody is like 450 movement speed on the enemy team.
Super zippy. As Jensen just kind of camping that left-hand brush. Inori commits the ultimate to the top lane. Smoothie wards out Gate Mash. Oh, last auto is there. It's actually on top of a pink ward, so easy ward clear there for Phoenix 1. And it does feel like there's some action around the Rift Herald. It's going to expire in under 2 minutes, so if you want to get it, you're kind of running out of time to do so. But it looks like maybe we'll actually have Rift Herald go untaken this game.
You really want it if you're Impact, though, because his goal is to split push and then make those tanks a little bit less squishy and peel for the Sivir. But I feel like he really wanted to have a 4-1 going in this game. Because when you have a Sivir, it's all about either team fighting or I'm the 4-1 bot that just makes sure that the wave is clear, and if we get engaged on, I just all-team, we run away.
I think execution in the team fights, as always, going to be very important here. Cloud9, more than happy just to play back of it, I feel like. Yes, they're down a little bit here and there, mainly on objectives. But Phoenix 1 aren't really pressing the issue. They're not playing nearly as aggressively as they were yesterday. Happy to play a more controlled style of game, kind of at Cloud9's pace. It was a lane swap game, so we expect things to slow down a bit. Meteos and Smoothie actually will move on to the... They're baiting me. No Rift Herald today. Looks like they're going to try and shove down mid. Nobody wants to take it.
It looks like they didn't even know what they wanted to do there for a minute.
They want to do it trick me, which they did successfully.
Yeah, I think the idea was Rift Herald's a waste of time right now because Cloud Drake is in 45 seconds. If they can get mid-turret, they get priority on Cloud Drake, but they can't actually out-wave clear the Azir. They'll get some damage on it, but they still need control of this area or it's just going to go over to P1 for free.
Yeah, 30 seconds up to the Cloud Drake. And Nori going to take that Scuttle Crab. We'll have vision around the Cloud Drake from that for a few seconds after it's spawned. And Nori even going back in to try and get some deep wards down. Very aggressive actually onto the red buff. Once again, has the giggle. Now going to smite it away. Going to swipe that blue trinket on the way out. No, he's actually tunneled, so doesn't do so, but takes his tunnel out to safety. Steals away the red buff from Sneaky. P1 definitely have advantage around the dragon right now.
God, it's so annoying as well because think of all the other Drakes. All the other Drakes scale with you. Percent AD AP, 10% of your damage, and then there's the Ocean Drake, which is your missing health and like mana. This is just flat. So getting it early, it's super good because the other ones just scale and you want them later on. This one's like the best early game one to have at the moment.
Certainly with how wide open the map is. P1 have been trying to take advantage. Cloud9 though do get a flash out of Gate with Meteos threatening with the body slam. Zig's down here though. Needs to charge up the Narbar, but good look for an engage here. P1 once again ready to contest for this dragon.
Yeah, they have the Scuttle Crab though. And Cloud9 really want to stop the Cloud 3 for P1. But P1's just going to clear out the mid wave because they know if they get priority here, then they can walk right over there. Nash is going to get the inside track. Get to clear out that minion wave, and Impact has to go top.
Two-man ulti there from Smoothie. Gets onto Gate and Inori. Doesn't land the stun, though.
No, Impact has to go top. Look at that gigantic wave. He's going to miss out on that. And it was just pushed out very beautifully. He's going to clear it very quickly with his Titanic Hydra. He has his TP available. This is just going to get shredded right now. Meteos.
Oh, Sivir got it! Sneaky manages to steal the Drake.
10 HP, missed out just barely by Inori, and Sneaky stops the disaster. No more Cloud Drakes will end up spawning, to my knowledge. Next one is Mountain.
Well, if that works, although Sneaky about to pay for his steal. Mash, let's rip with the calling, but doesn't quite kill Sneaky. Sneaky just going to go back to base, get his health topped back up. Phoenix 1, finally a misstep around an objective. Inori just short on that smite there, and Sneaky just threw out the Q.
Very well played there. He's done this a lot. Elder Drake, everything.
Easy.
10 HP. Just barely missed out there by Inori. And a lot of the times on Rek'Sai, you charge up so that you have 100 Fury, and then you E it for the true damage, and then you smite. And it looked like just a bit short.
Miscalculated perhaps there for Phoenix 1. As we'll reset the map once again. Rift Herald, of course, went unanswered, so Baron's now ready to go, but probably won't be seeing him for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, and when we talk about objectives, and especially movement speed in particular, it's all relative. So now, effectively, P1 just has one Cloud Drake up over Cloud9, right? Because it just matters if I catch the guy, yes or no, instead of, and that's actually preventing disaster, because otherwise it would have been 3 versus just 1 with that steal.
Cloud9 still trying to look in here. Again, everyone's sort of powering up. We've got scaling mid laners, decent scaling on the AD carries, tanky top laners. I feel like they're trying to prep themselves for a team fight, but no one's committed for a big 5v5 round and objective just yet. Cloud9 were able to steal away the last Drake, so didn't need to get their hands dirty to take that one away. And there's the Rylos on both the Azir and the Cassio. Like, things at some point in this game will break wide open, but it's really been an arms race for the first 25 minutes or so. Teams are just trying to find a tangible lead to run away with.
Yeah, and you wouldn't exactly expect that from P1, but you would expect that. Hold on, they want to burst this tower down before the TP comes through.
TP, he's going to complete it. Nori zones them off it. Zig commits the summoner to get there in time, but that tower's still low.
Yeah, very low. They're going to have to shove this wave back out. Luckily, nobody took any damage on P1's side, so they'll be able to push it back out. Maybe even get the other tower in response.
We're going to try for it. Sneaky actually just bops his way up to the top lane to clear that out. We'll get that wave pushing back very quickly. T1's done a good job applying pressure and side waves. Maybe find a pick here.
Ooh, they threaten Smoothie so much that he actually just gets out of dodge.
Zig's got flash as well. He's mega. This should be able to force it onto the turret. Need a little bit more damage. Can't quite get Lucian in range there with the Miasma blocking them off. Good little defense there from Cloud9 on the turret, but P1 might try one more wave.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. You take our turret to critical HP. Ah!
I mean, it really has been an even game. Apart from one or two little things here.
Oh,
Sneaky chunked though.
It's exactly what you need because he's the wave clearer. Now you can walk up to that turret, give it a couple of hits, but no.
Yeah, Cassio doing her part as well.
Yeah, they'll get it. They're not going to rush for it here. P1, the only wave clear that C9 will have left if Jensen backs is Meteos. And that's not enough here. He'd have to maybe throw his cask out if he really wanted to, but I think they're just sacking this turret.
Seems like they are going to give it up, and Nori and Meteos. Little battle over the Raptor camp. I think Meteos at least got the first might done. I believe he got the camp, but P1 will get the real prize here. Finally breaking parity on a lot of things here in this game. P1, the first one up in turrets here as they take the middle outer.
Yeah, but now they have to scatter, catch the side wave in the top. And Nori actually gets the red buff.
Speeding forward, and Nori slowed there by the meeps.
He has no flash.
Rest of Cloud9 looking in. He can tunnel out, but that's it. The first stun misses, though, with the slows in from impact, and Sneaky still chasing down to Nori. I think just trying to buy some time. The pillar is now going to force the tunnel out, but Cloud9 can keep running forward.
They're trying to go tier 2.
Yep, they're going to look to rush something down here, but he should die here. Jensen even here to collect the kill. Perhaps he will get it for himself. But P1, they're straight onto the mid-tier 2.
Yeah, Mash isn't here either, though, so that's a little
Oh,
delay.
danger.
Ooh.
Ulti onto Zig. He's going mega in the stasis. Pops his way out of the stun there from Bard, and the turret from Empyrean's enough to keep them alive.
So kill picked up for C9, but they have to trade a TP for it, and a decent amount of time as well. Mash continuing to farm in the top side. Bleed his Black Cleaver. Should be completed when he backs now.
And again, everyone just powering up. Nash going to get that wave pushing in. Jensen still hanging out mid, making sure he clears those away. And look, Sneaky. Nice big wave of minions to farm here as well. It's going to even that score right back up. Nash has had a little bit more free time to get some farm, I think, because P1 have been playing with a bit more initiative around the map. But there is nothing in this game, really. That gold difference still sitting at about 500, and it's been that way for this entire game.
Yeah, it's just been Drake's, and even then, that gap was closed. So Cloud9, and thanks to Sneaky there, with that steal, barely. Mountain Drake, though, that'll be up in 45 seconds for these guys. And it looks like Inori actually abandoned completing the Titanic Hydra and started going for Dead Man's Plate. Makes a lot of sense. Wants to go very fast this game.
I mean, he knows that this game is coming down to a key pick or a key team fight.
Speaking of key picks.
Double pink ward. Sneaky's like, a lot of value.
Yeah.
Getting a bit of help from Smoothie and clear that out. Another ward there for P1 though. Had 3 wards in that brush just to make extra sure.
They'll never think that we put a pink ward on top of a pink ward with a green ward.
And there we go. They clear out the green ward.
Baron?
T1, yeah, actually holding vision around the Baron area. Cloud9 like, uh-oh. Didn't think of that.
I mean, TSM threw at Baron against them yesterday. I don't think P1 would actually go for it, knowing just so freshly how much that can actually ruin the game. And Nori's going to look for a flank here.
Actually pretty deep, wrapping around the mid lane here.
They're going to try to pincer here.
This is the commit, but Meteos doesn't
There they
get
go.
the turret. They're looking for Sneaky, and Ori wants in. He finds Impact and Meteos instead for the knockup. Zig though, knocks his swing in. Now Mega gets 3 there with a big ultimate, but Jensen's already taken one down. Zig going to go down as well, as Jensen gets a double, and an instant flash from Cassio. Going to try and lock another down. Pyrian's going to keep him off, but Cloud9 finally opens something up.
Yep, 2 for 0 there in favor of Cloud9, and this middle turret's not long for this Rift. They're going to pick it up, and yeah, great cast there from Meteos. When you're doing that type of flank against a Gragas, always have to be conscious of when you actually meet up and who is, because they were able to ulti Fury and stop his DPS with the Tempered Fate, and then Meteos split the fight perfectly.
But Drake as a result, Impact making sure that P1 don't do anything tricky around the Baron area. It does take some damage. Mash trying to steal the blue buff away, but it's really the little things now. P1 looking for a consolation prize as Mash going to successfully reset the blue buff. Not what he wanted.
You had to be around that little lip there in order to pick it up. He's still going to go for it.
This is a little greedy.
You had to be like right there, and that's about as far as you can take it. If you go back and it passes like that little white bush he's standing next to, then it'll start to
check. Okay.
down.
No one else from Cloud9 there, so Mash gets away with it. Steals the blue buff away from Cloud9.
Yeah, luckily for Jensen, it doesn't matter too much. Cassiopeia is very mana hungry, but running around with a lot. Zig, up, nice stun there, and then sees the perfect opportunity. The pillar from Impact to set it up, but just a great ultimate there from Smoothie to stop Pyrian running in, finishing him off. And that was just a great display of confidence in his Bard, because that could have been him going down. If he misses that, Pyrian just finishes him off.
And Cloud9 starting to maybe snowball things a little bit here. Gold's still very even, but they've got more room to maneuver now with that middle outer turret taken down. Cassiopeia almost finished 3 items. Sneaky also on the way to the Infinity Edge. So when things start getting really good for the Cloud9 comp. We've seen 3 item Sivir take over game after game after game. It's just a matter of getting there safely, and Cloud9 seem to have gotten there with Sneaky about to approach that critical item.
And Impact and Zig fighting the bot side. Impact has a 2-level advantage, but it's a Gnar matchup. It's a little bit harder for Trundle. The percent HP really hurts him.
Zig did commit to Black Cleaver as well, so looking to 1v1 Impact, or at least try and challenge him in the split push.
Yeah, he does need some resists, though. I expect a Spectre's Cowl to come out next. Get himself up a little bit more HP. And survive, because Jensen 4-1-1 on that Cassiopeia. He's just going to start doing work now, especially with the Rylai's. Once you get in a fight with Cassiopeia, you have to either kill her or you're going to die. And there's no real disengaging from a Sivir comp that has a Rylai's behind it.
And you can kind of see the beauty of Cloud9's draft here. It's something I've played a number of times already, but comp looking really good now that we've hit the 30-minute mark. Jensen going to get some bonus gold as he takes down Pyrian's Sun Turret. And now it's Cloud9 actually that have P1 push back to their third of the map, threatening around the Baron area.
Yeah, just 1,000 gold lead, but they do have the Mountain Drake, so you have to check this Baron pretty frequently. It'll go down right quick.
He says, no, I just want more farm. Again, kind of still waiting on that third item here.
Oh.
Calling down onto Jensen pretty quick with a Ghost Blade popped in, but Jensen...
Yeah, he gets the ghost out.
Take some damage. It's that Cloud Drake, man. Speeding forward, firing bullets.
Puts him in combat, though, so I believe he loses it after a little bit.
Too. The first bullet, though, oh man.
Yeah. Real Karma Shield and just rushes right through.
Impact and Zig still hanging out, but looks like Spectre's Cowl is the go here for Zig. Actually, it's not, but it is a magic resist item.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for Guardian Angel.
Okay.
That would be my assumption. He still can't go for his Rot Portal.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we see it every now and then. I don't like his Rot Portal against Trundle, because... yeah. Why don't you like it against Sivir?
Just big numbers, man.
Yeah. Oh, it keeps bouncing, yeah. I don't like it against Trundle because his passive heals him from dying.
I didn't even think about that.
It's actually pretty bad against him.
That's level 16 as well, with a Frozen Heart. I don't think he's particularly bothered by anything that's happening in this lane.
Nope.
He's going to take the CS. He's going to be forced back. He's now Mega, so P1, unless they make a play right now, which they didn't, mean that they do have to kind of chill out. Because that Cloud9 is playing around their timings really nicely. Na's a very finicky champion to make work with the teleport. We saw that yesterday with Ray. Despite how good his game was, you have to balance between, you know, being offensive in mini Gnar and being a big tank in Mega Gnar.
Yeah, and he's got such low base stats a lot of the times in that mini Gnar that your first 2 items are just flat HP in terms of what you're building. Doesn't have any defense to multiply that, so he really waits until 3 items, 4 items, until he has both resists. And even then, he's not stacking them like an Maokai would or anything.
And despite how close the gold is in this game, the Drakes are even, kills are pretty close, and the turrets are still dead even. It does feel like Cloud9 have kind of gotten a hold on this game. They are still waiting for Sneaky's last item, but he can't be too far away at this point. There's another Drake up in a minute 15. It will be Ocean Drake. They fancy themselves that. Cloud9 is making sure that the Baron area stays swept out. If P1 ever make a misstep around the map, they'll probably just leap straight on it. They have so much Baron damage with this team comp. P1 just know they can't afford to make a mistake, but Cloud9 are more than happy to be patient here. Especially with Impact pushing things down. Yeah, Mash immediately knows. Dashes out from under Meteos' potential pressure. And you have to feel if the game just keeps going like this, Cloud9 kind of feel like, you know what?
Yeah.
Pretty sure we just win.
Yeah, they like it. They do have to worry about the late game Azir because he eventually becomes around level 17 exactly what he was before in terms of his damage output. It just becomes incredibly threatening. They have to watch out for that, but it is a Cassiopeia, a little bit more durable, and ooh!
Gate took a huge chunk of damage there from Jensen, but Impact is going to TP his way in. Kind of straight in the middle of the team. Going to take some damage here on the front line. Pops the ulti, gets a bit of health back. Pyrian ultied up, but Ziggs looking for a big play here. Cast just knocks them back in as Impact's going to zone them away. Smoothie finally dies to Pyrian, but Ziggs also taking damage on the front line. Impact chunked down to about 50% health. P1, 5v4 right now, but a little too low.
Yeah, really well played there from Zig and Pyrian especially. Meteos, I think he messed up his cast, didn't hit Inori into the team, hit him out, and it wasn't even off of a flash from Inori either. And I really like the wall up there from Zig. Ends up hitting not just Smoothie, but it does clip Sneaky as well and stops his damage output and stops those Sivir ricochets from wrecking the team fight.
Create Mash going to comfortably solo this Ocean Drake. Feels like the last few times T9 have fought, they haven't quite had Sneaky with the gold he wants. Oh, Impact straight in! Kills him with the ultimate!
Didn't even use Titanic Hydra either for the auto reset. Just get flash, boom, boom.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I feel like now you're in a great spot to bait the Baron. It's 30 seconds on Mash. He's a little bit too confident in his ability to do that. And
who said bait Siren? But I'm going to go straight for it. It's getting, oh my god, that Baron is getting destroyed.
Yeah, Mountain Drake really hurts it.
So many wards in the back, and Nori needs to try and steal it. Can they get him out of the way? Nori going to move in.
Oh, he's going for Meteos.
Good, it's already low. Who's going to get it? Jensen secures the Baron. But Cloud9 just trying to take up P1, and Nori gets shredded in the front line as Sneaky able to take him out. Meteos splashes out to safety as Impact tanking the rest of the backline damage. Good flash from Pyrian gets him out from under the ulti, but Ziggs has been popped. Impact still taking damage. Jensen now unstoppable. Takes out Nara, and Cloud9 surge forward to finish off Pyrian. Pyrian's going to die as he can't walk through the miasma, and Gate, one of the only ones left alive. Match has already turned for the hills, but that's 4 kills, C9.
Yeah, and they secure the Baron on top of it. They surge up to a 4K gold lead. Mash now, what's he going to do?
Pop the culling and get out of there.
Yeah, they really needed their AD carry in that fight because you saw Impact just got to walk straight at Pyrian's face the entire time, and Pyrian just wants to be left alone to deal all that damage, and he almost killed everybody, but not today.
Nash being missing. Very smart force there from Cloud9 as they break straight through the middle of the base. Have some time left if they want to keep going. Looks like bottom tier 2 is looking juicy.
It's the Lucian flank. He's cutting the wave. He's still going to go for it. They're going to try to pick up more here. They have the TP from Zig when he comes up. They're just going to try to pick up this fight as a straggler. They have the Cloud Drakes.
Little greedy. P1 though, going to try and chase in for it. They've sort of split up here. Smoothie found a recall spot he liked. Baron Empowered Recall is going to help out here. Teleport committed from Zig onto a Rek'Sai tunnel, but Meteor's going to get out. C9 leave Impact out to dry, but he's pretty tanky. Going to try and maybe take one down with him. The rest of the team's going to surge on forward. Impact does not have enough. Gets shut down by Inori.
It takes so much to take him down as well. And that's just going to be Impact off the map for 50 seconds. Waves still all the way pushed up. That inhibitor is down in the mid lane for P1, so they're just on wave clear duty for the next few minutes here. and no real objectives for them to actually contest or even take.
Yeah, a worthy sacrifice, I think, for Impact. Going to lose a bit of Baron uptime, but let's watch this again.
Yeah, and Nori goes in, and he's like, okay, get Meteos out of the pick, because Meteos is almost dead, because Imperium's dealing damage. And then, oh, the Baron. 10 HP again, come on, guys. I'm getting trolled now. Picked up there from Cloud9. And then Furion, he just has all this pressure on him. His soldiers were on Meteos before, then they ended up on Jensen Sneaky. Smoothie gets him out of the pit. The Bard with the big magical journey save earlier. And now they just go on Furion, and he really just wants to pick up and clean up that fight. If they had their AD carry, it would have fared way better for P1, but that's what gave C9 the confidence to go for that fight, as they had picked off Nash previously. And
it just turned into a huge lead there. You can see the Baron power play still ticking upwards there for Cloud9. It's a 3,500 gold up already from that play. Elder Dragon not up for a few more minutes, so Cloud9 is going to get some early vision down, but can't really play for it just yet. Instead, they'll take whatever's left of their Baron time. They've got a little under a quarter left, and they'll try and take down a few more turrets. Super's pressuring mid as well. Impact with his teleport, max level with 4 items, shoving out the top lane. Cloud9 have a great position here to try and knock down the remaining turrets and try and end the game.
Yep, and we don't really have too much to deal with that at the moment. This Baron buff, it's almost expired. Impact doesn't have it either, so it's kind of difficult for him to push this wave up. They'll have it for about 2 more waves, but that might be enough for them to just go straight for these turrets.
Well, that first turret getting almost an untimely death. 50% of its health already chunked away. He's going to regen, but not that quickly, as Impact will make short work of this tier 2. He's actually the only one that doesn't have Baron right now, which is a little awkward for this push, but Trundle's still Trundle, doing just fine there as he slows down for a bit. He pops the W, takes out the mending wave, and I'm going to build up a nice big wave towards this inhibitor turret in the top lane.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to go deal with it, or P1 are going to have to engage, and even then, they'll probably just lose their inhibitor flat out. They want to send Mash, but then he actually tags Zig in, so Zig is going to clean up the top side. Baron buff is gone, and now Furion's all the way clear.
Ooh, and Nori grounded. Doesn't keep going for it. Impact
go for
ignoring Zig. Ulti committed. Impact's not done. Manages to take it out. And now Gates here. Now Nori's here as well. Impact, he's huge. He's already popped the ulti. He's 4,000 plus health. Just ignoring 3 members of Phoenix One.
He's probably going to continue to ignore Zig. See if he walks up again and just goes straight for it. Yep. Yep, can't do much.
And this is why people hate playing against Trundle. This is the point in the game where Trundle is insufferable to try and play against. And Cloud9, they knew they had the scaling. This game looks really tricky for P1 to try and make any room in. Cloud9 just kind of closing in on opposite sides of the map here. Going to take down these last few inhibs. Sneaky only needs a few pot shots in. Purion does a lot of damage, so Cloud9 don't want to overcommit to any soldiers. But they've got plenty of time to try to get things done here. Elder Dragon up in 40 seconds. Cloud9 probably just going to reset the map at this point.
Yeah, see if they go for that as well. Elder Dragon is an objective that's very hard to take. Takes a lot of time. It does a decent amount of damage, and that inhibitor in the mid lane, it'll come up fairly shortly.
Well, P1 probably in position to try and fight for it, but Cloud9 will do more than enough damage. Jensen just went back home and picked up a death cap for himself. Going to ignore the zombies from around. Might not even get it at all.
Yep.
But the amount of total damage from these carries is absurd.
Yeah, and Cassiopeia reaching 6 items. She's one of the only champions of the game that literally reaches 6 items because she doesn't buy boots. We usually actually exclude. It's funny, we exclude boots from items until we say 6 items.
Yep.
It's weird. It's not 6 items. It's like, he's got boots too, but no.
They magically count.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's completed his first item. It's like, the guy had boots the entire time. It's like, anyway, still, Elder Dragon up, looking for a setup here on P1. Sneaky's not there just yet, but Zig is trying to build that bar.
Didn't take too long for Sneaky to get there either. Gonna leg it up the river. See if he can't make good time. Impact gonna start things off. Killer's up on the gate. Takes a big bite out of him, but nothing too problematic there for Karma. Meteos looking for the player. Nori separated from the team. But Meteos does not chase his way back in. Very speedy on the Gragas right now with the Dead Man's Plate. But Cloud9 happy to play this patient. Mid-inhib is back. P1 kind of on even footing to try and start something here. But Nori again zoned out. Mash forced to burn the Culling.
Those crits, those Sivir crits.
Oh, and now Sneaky looks in for it. Impact, who's he found? He's looks for Gate, but the Pillar's going to get flashed over there. They'll still lock him down. Sneaky to get destroyed by Jensen's damage. His Pirion blocked up there as well. That's going to force a flash out. Zig gets an ulti onto a bunch of people, but he's going to die for it after the GA pops in as Jensen takes him out. Pirion now caught in between the wall as Sneaky just cleaves him off the ramp. And Cloud9 going to leap forward. Jensen nabs the double. Nori left alive, not for too much longer. Jensen with the triple and another 4-0 fight, Cloud9.
And Cloud9 say, you know what, it's midnight right now. It's time to turn back into a pumpkin. P1 looks like they're going to lose this first game. MASH trying desperately to take down Impact. Don't think it's going to happen.
Good luck. MASH is going to dash Zippy's way away, but Impact's going to find him, pillars him up, bashes him in the skull with the baton, and that's going to be an ace. And the game ending here for Cloud9. A deliberate 30 minutes, but some strong team fighting, and Cloud9 knew they could take it. They will claim victory over P1 in the first one.
Cloud9, they can still keep hold of that third spot. And they take down the God Killers in game 1.
I mean, we looked at Jensen's tweet saying they had to play the Powerhouse P1 tomorrow. Game 1 looking pretty good today, but I will say Cloud9 showed a lot of restraint and a lot of respect there. Really deliberate game from Cloud9, not wanting to make any mistakes.